Hello, hello, girls. What's up? So today we are going to talk about a positive thing about why student loans are entirely unnecessary. So sometimes people are motivated by positivity, other times like negative horror stories of student loans. So and a few times, maybe later this week or next week, we'll have another episode on student loan horror stories to inspire you. But in this instance, we're going to talk about how student loans are entirely unnecessary and 3 incredible debt-free stories that prove it, that will encourage you in positivity for how you too can graduate from college debt-free. So come along for the ride. Hey girl, welcome to Money and Mental Peace, a podcast for Christian college girls wanting to graduate debt-free. Do you procrastinate on homework while Googling easy scholarships and money for college because you're drowning in debt and student loans? Afraid you'll never have enough time and motivation to find ways to pay for college when you don't even have enough time to sleep or have a social life? I'm Kara. I too was a stressed college student and overachiever looking for money and mental peace. I wondered if there were other ways to pay for college, and I wished for a clear direction on how to do it. I wanted an easier way to fund college with less anxiety, but I kept telling myself I had no idea what to do, thought I wasn't finishing school fast enough, and thought I would never have enough money. Until some scholarships and rare school hacks got me through debt-free, and I can show you how to do this as well. In this podcast, you'll find mental peace, answers for your future, and enough money to kill it at college. So grab your cold brew and TI-89 and enroll in the most stress-free and debt-free class that you've ever attended. This is Money and Mental Peace. Okay, we're going to start our episode today with some requests. My request for you is to go join our Facebook group, the Christian College Girl Community, and I've had a few people request to join and not look at answering the questions I have on there, and I would love to ask for you guys to try to join and answer those couple questions about your ideas about debt-free college so that I can develop content that will help you specifically. And you know what? I am going to be posting about whenever I launch my course, which will be in the next couple months, the Debt-Free College Blueprint, which will help you if you would like to learn how you specifically in your situation could graduate from college debt-free. So go ahead and join that Facebook group so that you can be notified of all the cool things and of the course coming up to help you personally. Again, the Facebook group is called the Christian College Girl Community Scholarships and Graduate Debt Free. And I believe I usually have the link in the description below. So go for it. So next, we're going to talk about why student loans are entirely unnecessary. Now, I always start with this type of thing. Listen, if you have student loans, I'm not saying I hate you. I'm saying this podcast is about ways that you can graduate from college debt-free, right? And so I provide information and options on how to do it and how student loans are unnecessary in the sense of how these people were able to graduate without them. They're stories to inspire you. It's the concept to have this idea. And why even graduate from college debt-free? Now, I was just on another podcast. Someone interviewed me, which I really appreciate it. And I talked about how I graduated not only debt-free, but with $10,000 in the bank. And I feel awkward because we don't always talk about money in everyday life, right? And how much you had at a certain time. But I think it applies to a podcast about money. So I had saved up for college, but I had gotten grants and scholarships that allowed me to not use all my money. And the month after I graduated from college, I was able to start a business, start my LLC, and start saving for retirement, which you might be like, why would I do that now? Listen, I want to be a millionaire when I retire. And no, not in the aspect of rich people are weird and hurt others and step all over people. No, I want to be able to have money to learn and give. I'd like to travel and learn about other places and cultures and things. I want to give money to charities. That starts with personally investing as soon as I can. And if you're new to this podcast, you can listen back through on ways that I have graduated from college debt free And I'm not trying to make it sound all about me, although it is my story. My story is that first story of why it's unnecessary to get student loans. So also, if you're new, maybe you want to go back and check out episodes 1, 2, and 3, which give kind of the basic information of how I did some of this. But just know that I was able to graduate from college debt-free with money in the bank. And no, I didn't get like an inheritance from my parents. Like, I was paying for it. Now, I was blessed that my parents allowed me to live at home while I did this. And I still paid for my car and gas and bills and stuff, but that is a blessing of a situation, like less to think about. But you might be like, well, I can't do that, Kara. I have to go be on my own. So it's entirely impossible. Now, let me prerequisite this, if that's the right word to use, with me and this next story I'm going to tell you, we were single, we didn't have kids, each of us single, no kids. So that does make for more ability to have time to do these different things and work for money and do other things. I entirely want to acknowledge everyone has their own different life situation, but I do really want to shine light on my friend Athena's story, because I am so proud of her, how she was able to graduate debt-free, and she entirely was adulting, let's just say, lived on her own, paying for stuff, anyway. So Athena and I met when we did an internship with the National Park Service, and we were kind of co-workers over the same park, but she was more based in the larger city near me and did a little bit more of some stuff with the park, and then also connection with the other organizations around. To be honest, we had different jobs to a point, but we still did periodic meetings and became friends. And I really, really respected all the hard work that she put into this. And I had interviewed her, I don't know, last year or the year before, when I'd been working on writing my book about this. And then I'm like, oh, book's going on hold, making a podcast. So, but here's some parts of her story. Athena worked her way through college, and she had bills to pay, rent, car insurance, gas, blah, blah, etc. She lived alone, and it was hard, but she saved most of her money. She served, waitressing, bartended when not in school, and sometimes she crammed papers in 2 hours because of time. I totally get it. And a lot of times people out there, definitely put time into learning, not binging Netflix forever for 5 days and then you spend 2 hours writing a paper. But she had legitimate hard work to do. She had to pay bills and do all the things. And I, for one, know she was a great student and was able to get good grades on those 2 hours papers. Sometimes that the deadline being so close really inspires people. So good for you, Athena. And she also, through parts of ways to pay for school, got Pell Grants and Research Award. And she had no loans for all of her undergrad, which I just give her a thumbs up to that. Now, with grad school, she had 75% covered with scholarships and grants. She did end up getting a loan for the rest of it, and as little as possible, and she was almost done paying it off super fast. She was entirely intentional. And she does want me to mention that it's entirely important to acknowledge that she didn't have children and was able-bodied, so no restrictions, which I agree with. That was my situation as well. I understand everyone has a different situation in life, but I'm just providing you stories about how it can be possible without loans, and maybe you can see yourself in these situations. And then she also mentioned AmeriCorps gave her a stipend for college, which is what her and I worked for under the National Park Service. So thumbs up to you, Athena. You were entirely inspiring to me on how you were working towards what I was, but then you also had so much more living on your own and bills to pay and everything. So hopefully that can inspire some others as well. And now lastly, my third story is about my friend Frankie. So we're talking about different people in different phases of life, right? Athena had more on her own that she had to pay for and do all the things. I did as well, but I did have the stability of being able to live at home. The next person I'm talking about might apply to you because I know I do have a variety of homeschoolers who listen. And my friend Frankie, he ended up graduating from high school. And then I believe it was when he was 18, or it was maybe a half a year later, that he graduated college too. So here's me talking to all you homeschoolers out there who might be interested in this type of thing. You don't have to be homeschooled to do this, but maybe his can relate to you because of the time frame. He did, do high school and study and whatnot, but part of his schooling was studying for these specific tests that he could test out of for college. So he would learn stuff like in high school, right? And then he would, it almost like his final exam of sorts would be to take a CLEP test or a DSST. We've talked about those. Go ahead and go back and listen. I think it's episode 2 or 3 where I talk a little more in depth. And he would test out of the classes and get credits that he could send to the college that he was going to. And Frankie, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry, I don't remember if you went to Excelsior or I think it was Thomas Edison State College. But there's certain colleges out there that accept almost unlimited amount of credits. And not only do they accept these various testing types of courses, but also they have their own ways to test out so you don't actually have to go to the school. So he would be holed up in his room for hours sometimes, finishing high school, homeschooling. He had the ability to do that throughout the day instead of being at public school. And he would then go to his local testing center, test out of it, and finished a political science degree, I believe, by the time he was like 18 or 19. And 3 different examples of people in different phases of life who were able to get their undergrad for debt free without loans, proving that, now I don't know your specific situation, but if there are ways that these apply to you, it is possible to get an undergraduate college degree without loans, debt free, right? And again, I want to repeat that I did at the start of the episode. If someone has loans for undergrad, that doesn't mean I hate them. Listen, please, I know the responses critical are going to come. I'm just saying I have a podcast about how to graduate from college debt free. Therefore, I provide stories of how it is entirely possible and reference some friends of mine who did awesome work in this situation. And if you don't mind, I threw myself in there because I was excited I got to start saving for retirement right after college, because how fun is that? And I'm not being sarcastic. I really think that's fun, but you probably think I'm weird and nerdy. Anyways, here are 3 stories for you. I hope they can inspire you. If you have any questions about it, please go ahead and join the Christian College Girl community on Facebook. You don't have to be a girl. You don't have to be a Christian. This is just my niche because I'm talking to those people out there who were like me several years ago. And we have advice and encouragement if you're going through college. I'm working on creating a course entitled The Debt-Free College Blueprint, which will include scholarships, accountability strategies, school hacks for your specific situation of how to graduate debt-free. And what I mean is, it's like I'm teaching you how to fish instead of giving you a fish. Like I have a business where I find students scholarships, but in this case, I'll teach you how to find grants and scholarships, a good school, learn how to test out of classes, apply these situations to your life specifically for what you're doing in your situation, just like Frankie, Athena, and I had various different life situations, and we can, support one another in this. So go ahead and join that Facebook group, please. I'll get all updates in there. And it was awesome to have you guys listening today. If you're new, go ahead and listen to a few of the earlier episodes. And I hope that you can learn from this that it is truly possible to graduate from college debt-free. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.
Hey, girl. Okay, so before you run off to calculus, if this podcast has brought you any encouragement, would you please write a review on iTunes or take a screenshot, post it in your Insta stories, and tag me. Let's tell the rest of our stressed sisters that more money and peace can be attained outside of the conventional way of doing college. See you next time. Love and prayers, Kara.